All right, so people loving the snow, not the ice, good distinction. Fine with the snow, yeah, okay. So people are comfortable with it at the very least, so awesome. Well, it's good to see people joining. Really excited for today's topic, dashboard actions. They're kind of so fundamental to Tableau and what's possible with the tool. But there's also just a lot of options when creating and using dashboard actions. Since we're going to get into the details today and provide a variety of use cases. But before we kind of jump in there, I do want to make a quick announcement. So in case, so if you're new to the Milwaukee Tableau user group, if this is your first time joining, or even for those who have joined us before, you might have seen a message go out on our LinkedIn group about us looking for new leaders. So as with any kind of group, our capacity to take on things ebbs and flows, interests, projects, they shift and change over time as we evolve as people and professionals. And so we actually have an announcement, a change in the leadership of the Milwaukee Tableau user group that we just want to bring to your attention. So you may be familiar with Josh Connor. He joined the leadership team in 2018 and brought a vast amount of data and technical experience with him. He's been, obviously really a valuable member of the leadership team, helping to arrange our summer happy hour last year, along with many other events. But he is stepping down from the leadership team. He's got some cool things on the horizon, and of course we wish him well, and we'll be cheering him on. I will say that he is in the chat right now, so a huge thanks goes out to Josh for all of his work over the past 5 years. This group certainly wouldn't be what it is without you, so thank you, Josh, and good luck with everything. With that, we did add a new member to the leadership team, Mark O'Hensey. I need to practice the last name, so I apologize, Mark. But we added Mark. Mark is actually a familiar face. He's been attending meetings since 2016. So he's been involved in the Tableau user group here in Milwaukee for a long, long time. And just we're really excited to have him on the leadership team. He, is an accomplished leader in the data and analytics space with over 20 years of experience. So we're really excited to be bringing his knowledge to the group and seeing how his perspective kind of maybe changes the types of content we bring you. So big news for the leadership team, and really excited to have you, Mark. Thanks for giving us your time.
Thanks for that, Brandy.
Okay, so with that kind of quick announcement. So you'll be seeing Mark more in our meetings. With that, I'm actually going to turn it over to Mark to talk about the agenda for today.
All right, thanks, Brandy. And I just want to give a shout out to Josh for everything that he's done, and thanks for all your work, and thanks for stepping down. So I got the opportunity. So I'm really looking forward to this. And fun fact, my current employer is Rosales USA. I'm the Enterprise Business Intelligence Team Manager. Currently, we have about 1,500 Tableau users, but within about a year and a half, we're going to have 5,000. And I'm also part of a global organization, which is committed to 30,000 Tableau users. So love to talk or hear about anybody who's on any big Tableau implementations, any learnings or any I don't know, good things to know. Love to knowledge share about that. So, all right. So for today's meeting on the agenda, we're going to do a poll, get kind of the profile of the audience, share those fun facts with everybody. Then the meat of the presentation today will be 2 different presenters related to dashboard action, very powerful feature within Tableau. Tammy Brown will be presenting beginner to intermediate, and Katie Haley will be presenting on intermediate to advanced. After that, Olga is going to give us some quick tips. So looking forward to that. And then as always, we're going to have a listing of upcoming events, not just Tableau, but data and analytics related events. And then we'll have some prizes and wrap up the meeting. And then as the slide here says, please continue to use the Q&A panel throughout this session to give your feedback, questions, whatever commentary you want to make.
Thanks, Mark. One kind of clarification I'll make there. So we do have a chat, which we've all been using, and well, now you can all use because I enabled it for everyone. But there's a separate Q&A panel that we'll use for actual questions. But if you want to make jokes and stuff, use the chat for the jokes, and then the Q&A panel for the questions. So there is just a distinction there. Awesome. Thanks, Mark. With that, we're gonna jump right in to our audience profile. So again, we do this at pretty much every one of our meetings. We do an audience profile where we're gonna ask you some questions. We want to learn more about you. So you can either go to this URL, which I think will be, we'll drop it in the chat momentarily. Or you can scan the QR code. So at least on my phone, all I have to do is open up my camera and point my camera at this, and then like a little banner will pop up that I can click on, where I can then take the poll. So I'll give you a moment to do that, and then I'll turn it over to Olga to walk us through the questions. Cool. So I see that Patrick just dropped the link in the chat, so you can click on that. And yeah, we'll kick things off with the first question.
All right. Are you going to the Tableau conference this year? So Tableau conference is in May. It's in Las Vegas. I want to go. For me. So we're going to see mortgage industry is tough this year. First time. Okay. Yeah, it's tough. I think I was hoping we'd see a lot of people excited to go. So yeah, if anybody has any questions about why they should go or how to justify, I'm happy to help, but looks like we're kind of still in COVID mode. Okay, we can go to the next one. Would you, you know what? Oh, so sorry. Would you like to meet in person next quarter? Hopefully this one goes a little more with some positives. Yes, please. I like virtual meetings better. Okay. So we are definitely considering in-person meeting. And I think, maybe we should have said there will be snacks, and that could have changed things up front. So this is good to know. Lots of virtual. Okay. No one wants to host.
If we do meet in person, will we bring back the happy hour?
Yes.
Does that count as a snack?
Yes. Whatever you'd like. Maybe we need, we already get some yes pleases now. Okay, so happy hour, maybe some other prizes, we'll see. Okay, we can go on. I think we get the gist of it. Does anyone use write back on your dashboards? Any type of write back feature? So, oh, awesome. So when you're on the dashboard, you can input data. I'm super impressed. That's awesome. And if anyone that is using it, which, oh, I see. I thought you said, yes, I use it. So what is write back? Awesome. That's what I want to hear. Yes. Okay. I can read. I wrote this. good. This is an amazing feature. If someone's on a Tableau dashboard, you can enable them to input data into a database and input it and then be able to report on it directly. So I think it's very powerful. And this may be something that we'll talk about in a future meeting. Okay, we can go to the next. And just curious, does anyone use the Marketing Cloud services? It's part of Salesforce, and they are, yeah, and I thought so. Okay, should just stop talking. Okay, this is good.
Why we ask these questions,
Right.
right?
It's really cool service, but I feel like it might be just for people that don't have analysts and data and so on. So, okay, good to know. All right, we can go on to the next.
Are we going to hear more about that later,
Okay.
Olga? Or are we going to hear maybe at a future meeting?
Maybe at a future meeting. Yeah, for the those that are interested, definitely a possibility. So I think Right Back and Marketing Cloud Services definitely possibilities here. And curious, what business unit do you support? I know we just hit every one of them. Anybody that needs help, but wondering if people specialize in one place or the other. You know, would it be interesting to maybe have little breakouts or, you know, people that mainly work on sales or mainly work on operational, or, you know, do you do maybe a support center, something like that? So, well, so I think next time maybe the question will be every single one of them. Maybe the question will be, you know, if we were to break out, what, you know, what part of the business would you like to talk about? So yeah, I guess we're all in the same bucket here. Okay. Thank you. And are you in need of a data doctor session? So it used to be called Tableau Doctor. It's been rebranded with Tableau. It is the Data Doctor. And if you are working on a dashboard and you're having an issue either in, you know, how to aggregate the data a certain way, how to, you know, maintain a certain level of detail, get a dashboard action to work, or some visualization to really speak to you, you can come to the TUG. We can have it as part of the meeting, and we'll say, hey, anybody need any assistance? Bring it up and we'll kind of crowdsource with this group some consulting services, and we'll try to find an answer for you. If you go to the Tableau conference, you can make appointments to see Tableau doctors there as well. And there is a data doctor toolkit if you want to have some type of feature in-house. So if you have so many users, like I know Brandy has a lot of users, and she's implemented a lot of types of either training or self-service or different types of things to help the users. So good, we can bring Data Doctor back. And the next one, did you know that the first Wisconsin TUG was created, creating creations 10 years ago? I know. Wow. I know somebody was there. Yep. I think that's great. So we continue. We've got the Milwaukee TUG and the Madison TUG. We work closely together. Many of the people that involved of those two also run the Wisconsin TUG, which is virtual. And Brandy was the first, or Patrick, is it Madison that was the first, or was it just a Wisconsin TUG and not a Milwaukee or Madison?
I think it was created, it was the Madison Tug was
Okay.
actually created first, but I think
Okay.
it was created under the umbrella, like
Of
they called
Wisconsin.
themselves the Wisconsin Tug
Yep.
for a while,
Yeah.
Yep.
but then they kind of narrowed in on
Yeah.
Madison.
Because it was. Okay, so the bigger question is, next question. Do you want to go to the birthday party? Yes, there will be snacks. So go ahead and change your answer. I'll just answer that right now.
Yeah.
Now I know. It's just going to be part of the statement. There will be snacks.
Yeah, I don't think
Do we
there's
have
a
any more
meeting.
information about it?
No, I don't think so. I think we're in the middle. There's like a little planning committee that's like working on an event, but I know I have been collecting a lot of really awesome Tableau swag to give away. So we're going to do a lot of giveaways. We're most likely going to have a happy hour. There will likely be snacks. I can't imagine.
Cake.
You know, yeah, we have to have a birthday cake.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Awesome. Yay. All right. And so, are you familiar with dashboard actions? In my world, they're very powerful. Yep, they're essential. And that's awesome. We are going to go from beginner to intermediate with Tammy and Katie helping us out here. It is a very good tool. So if they're essential to you, my guess is you're gonna find things that you knew and maybe a few things you didn't know today. You never know what you're gonna get out of this. All right.
Cool.
Great.
Thanks, Olga.
Thank you.
And thank you to everyone who answered those questions. It's always really helpful, you know, to get that feedback, to understand a little bit more about you, and the types of, you know, things that you're interested in learning, so that we can serve up that you know, what content you want to see. Okay. So next up, we're going to dive right into the content for today, dashboard actions. The first speaker we have is Tammy Brown. She's the lead data analyst at TDS Telecom. She has 30 years of experience working in marketing and data analytics. She currently works on TDS Telecom's advanced analytics team. She works to improve products and services for customers using advanced analytics, big data analytical tools, and turning that data into insights. So really excited to see what Tammy is gonna show us here. You know, real quick side note about Tammy. I feel like the first time we've never met in person, which is wild to me, because I feel like we have. I feel like I know you. So.
Yeah. I tried to catch up with you at TC19 and it just didn't work.
I know. Oh my God. And that was what my story was going to be. It's like every morning we had a plan to meet for breakfast at a table at the conference. But like, if you've ever been to the conference, it's massive. There are lots of people, there's lots of tables, and it was just like, we were like ships in the night. We didn't like, I feel like we never ended up finding each other. So no. I'm really hopeful. Maybe this will be the year that we'll meet in person. But with that, I'm going to turn it over to Tammy to talk about dashboard actions. I think she's got some really awesome use cases. She's going to give us a lay of the land on what they are, the different settings, and some use cases. So turn it over to Tammy.
Thank you, Brandy. That was awesome. Yep. So as Brandy said, I am a lead, one of two. Oh, it's not sharing the right screen. Just a second. Let me try that again. It is not sharing. Right.
Desktop.
You are okay. It's not showing up that way on my, so let me try one more time. Sorry.
Third time's the charm.
Yes.
Also,
Okay, great.
as Tammy goes through her presentation, make sure that you use the Q&A panel to ask questions. If there's time at the end, Tammy will answer some of your questions, but also you will be entered to win a prize when you ask a question. So make sure you find the Q&A panel.
Okay, sorry for that blip. It didn't put a border around my monitor like I'm used to seeing. So yes, as Brandy mentioned, I am one of two lead data analysts on the advanced analytics team at TDS Telecom. TDS is headquartered in Madison. So I used to commute to Madison. I live in Janesville, which is about 40 miles south of Madison. Beloit is on the border. We're just north of Beloit. So I've been working from home ever since the pandemic started, and mid-pandemic, I made it permanent. So I love all things Wisconsin sports. I hate winter. I love sports. I have a cool medal hanging behind me that is in the shape of Wisconsin and has the Brewers, the Bucks, the Packers, and the Badgers logo all in it. So so I've been working from home for a few years now, about 3 years now. So I'm going to demonstrate dashboard actions. I have a lot of business dashboards that have some pretty fantastic dashboard actions in them, but because they're proprietary data, I can't show that. So I participate when I can in the Workout Wednesday challenges that there's a group from Tableau that does those. So I just looked for a couple of Workout Wednesday dashboards that were really good examples of dashboard actions. And that's what I'm using to demonstrate today. So the first one is a hex map. It's the data source for this is the Superstore data set that comes with every Tableau install, and it's a map that shows by state the profit ratio for sales for a particular year. It doesn't matter what year it was. It was sales by year for a year by state with the data represented in a hex map of the states, a scatter plot, and then a line graph. So what my dashboard actions purport to show is if you hover over a state, so let's pick Wisconsin because Wisconsin's the best one. If you hover over okay, why does that say Illinois? I am not sure why. Oh, there it goes. Okay. If you hover over a state, the dashboard actions are set up to, except this one's broken because I was playing around with it. The dashboard actions are set up so that when you hover on the state, it changes the line graph down in the bottom left corner. And I apologize, it's also supposed to highlight Wisconsin within the scatter plot, which it's not doing. And I think it's because I was playing around to get ready for today. So when I'm in showing you the functionality, I will fix that so you'll be able to see that also. But I also have another dashboard action that if you click on one of the dots in the scatter plot, it will show you what state that goes with. So I have to have my tooltips because once I get past Ohio, Indiana, I'm not so good at identifying what my states are up in that New England area. So I always make sure that I have my tooltips so that it tells me what I'm looking at. But all of this movement around the graph is dictated by the dashboard actions that I have set up. So if you're just getting started with dashboard actions, the first thing you want to do is you want to build your dashboard. So I have 3 individual sheets on this dashboard. I have the map, I have the scatter, and I have the trend. So these 3 individual vises that make up the dashboard do not have any filtering on them at all because that's going to happen with the dashboard actions. So I took those sheets, I built my dashboard, and then I went in and I did my dashboard actions. So to get to a dashboard action, you click on the dashboard menu and actions, dashboard menu and actions, and then you'll get this actions menu box. So you have several different actions that you can choose from. Today, I'm going to demonstrate the filter, the highlight, and the go to URL. So those are the ones that I will be focusing on. So I already have them all set up. So I'll just do the edit one. So I try to use as descriptive of a name as I can so that I know what it's doing. So if I have to go in and fix one, or if I have to go in and change one, I know which one to go to, because a lot of my dashboards have sometimes 15 or 20 different dashboard actions on them. So if I was going to create, I would do add action, and I would choose what kind of action, I would choose add action if I wanted to do a menu one, for instance, or I'm sorry, a filter one, I would click on filter. If I was trying to do a highlight, I would do a highlight. So the difference between filter and highlight is a highlight is what I have all of my actions doing. So when I hover over something on the dashboard, okay, everything got messed up. Look, for some reason, it is not working at all. Technology is great until technology fails, right? Okay, so I think I might have just been clicking something. So I will demonstrate how to do it, and then hopefully everything will get fixed. So basically the highlight, the difference between highlight and filter is if you do a filter dashboard action, it removes everything that you're not filtering on. If you do a highlight dashboard action, it will just send everything that's not part of what you're trying to highlight to the back, and so what you are trying to highlight will be kind of brought forward, if you will. So I'm going to go into my map to scatter action. I think that might be why. So I want my map. I want to click on my map, or hover over my map, sorry, and have it change the scatter plot down in the right corner. So my source sheet is going to be my map sheet. My target sheet is going to be my scatter sheet. And I want this action to happen on hover. And I want all fields that are in the viz to be part of this target highlighting. So you could just show dates and times. You could show just selected fields and have those pop out. I'm on the all fields team when it comes to dashboard actions. So I always just choose all fields. But this is all that is to it. If I was setting this up new, I would choose my source sheet, I would choose my target sheet, and then run action on hover. So then I do that and I set that up and I'm out of here. And so it's working now. So if I hover over Tennessee, it's going to show the line graph changes to be representative of only Tennessee, and the scatter plot, the scatter plot down in the right corner shows the profit ratio just for Tennessee. Wow, this is really slow. I'm sorry, it's really lagging. I'm pointing on states that it's bringing up the wrong state, but you get the idea. So I've got a little bit of a lag going on here, and I'm not sure why. So let me go back into the dashboard actions menu again.
Hey, Tammy.
Yep.
Tammy, I don't know if you want to answer questions now. There was a question in the Q&A just about filters and highlights.
Okay.
Like what the difference is. Are they, is it fair to say that they're opposites, sort of?
Kind of, yeah, you could say that they're opposite. If you do a filter, and I can change one of these to be a filter action, and I can show that. If you do a filter action, when you click on something to filter to something, everything else on the viz goes away, and it only shows you what you've filtered to. A highlight action, the viz stays the same, but what you're not highlighting just kind of fades into the background until you come off of it, and then it comes back again. Everything comes back again. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that probably answers the question.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. So then my next, the next action that I have on this dashboard is map to trend. So this is the dashboard action that if I click on something on the map, then it will affect the trend line. Now, I could have put both the scatter and the trend on the same action. So I could have said when I hover on a state on the map, then show me the dot on the scatter and show me the trend line. The reason that I have them separated is because I want I want the trend to go back to showing all values when I'm not hovering over the state, if that makes sense. So by doing them separately, I can tell it what to do when I clear the selection. So when I move off of the map, show me everything in the trend line again versus it was just a highlight on the scatter plot before. So again, just map to trend. So that's telling me what this is doing. We're using the map as the source sheet. We're using the trend as the target sheet. When we're hovering, we're not selecting it. And we're showing all the values when we move off of it. So see how much of a lag we have here. So when I hover on Illinois, it shows the trend line for Illinois. It brings out the dot down in the bottom right that represents the dot for Illinois. And when I move off of it, my trend line goes back to showing all of the states. So I could walk through all of these real quickly. The other ones, wow, I am really lagging and I apologize for that. So scatter to map, that's one that goes the other way. So I want that one to be, yes. So let me back up for a minute. So this is going to show you the difference between filter and highlight. So you have the little marker pen icon here. That means highlight. The little funnel means filter. So that was the difference between my two dashboard actions. So when I hover on Illinois, it filters out everything from the trend line that is not Illinois and shows only Illinois. And the dashboard action that goes from map to scatter highlights just the dot for Illinois. So if I move over to Arizona, the line changes to be Arizona and the scatter plot changes to show only Arizona. So, and then when I move off of it, the trend line goes back to showing everything. So that's if this was a bar graph, it might be a little bit more obvious, but you can see that it's changing. The filter action is taking out all of the data except for the one piece of data that I want to show, which is the sales for Kansas. The highlight action is leaving everything down in the scatter plot, but it's just pushing it. It's just minimizing the color of it, so making it more transparent so that all you see is the dot that represents, which now I'm hovering on Nebraska. So that's the difference. So I hope that answers the question that was in the Q&A. So for my actions to do everything that I want them to do, I just have all of the different actions mapped out. So my scatter to map, again, is very similar to the other one. It's just the reverse of it. So my source sheet is the scatter and my target sheet is the map. And it's a hover action. So when I hover on one of the dots on the map, so I'm hovering on Washington and it will show me Washington up in the corner off of this dashboard action. Again, it's a highlight action. So all of my states went to be more transparent, and the only one that is the full color is the state of Washington. So, excuse me, I'm losing my voice. So then my last action of this type on this dashboard is my scatter to trend. So I want this one to be so this is set up as a filter target. When I click on a dot, or when I hover on a dot on the scatter, sorry, I don't mean hover, select, I mean hover, it will show me just that state's trend in the trend line below. So I have the exact reverse. I have the map to scatter, I have the map to trend, and then I have the scatter to map and scatter to trend. So again, if I hover on, let's pick a different one. If I hover on the state of Texas, it will highlight the state of Texas in the state map, and it will filter the trend line so that all you see in that trend line are is the sales data for the state of Texas. So then finally, the other dashboard action that I wanted to show on this is a way that you can send your user to more information off of your Tableau dashboard, send them to a web link. So let's say that this was a dashboard where if someone clicked on the state of Wisconsin, and I want them to be able to find out more about the state of Wisconsin, I can send them to a web page. And just for the ease of simplicity, I was going to put in a Packer page or a Badger page or something in here, but I just went with Wikipedia. And if any of you are students, I'm not showing you Wikipedia as a trusty data source. I'm just showing you Wikipedia as an example. But you can do a go to URL link. So how I would get here under add actions, you choose the go to URL. So I did that with my Wikipedia link. Called it Wikipedia links so that I know in my dashboard action menu that that's what that is. And I'm using, for the source sheet, I'm using the map. So I could have used any of these, but I could use the scatter or the trend. But I thought that the map was a little more intuitive for what we were trying to do here. And this time, instead of hover, I said select. So if I would have chosen hover for this to run the action on, every time you hovered over one of those states, like I was doing when I was demonstrating, it would pop up a web page in your web browser. So to keep that from happening, I chose to require the select on the map. So you actually have to click on one of the states, and then I have it set to open a new browser tab. And this new tab, if no web page object exists, you do have the functionality to have the web page show up right in your desktop dashboard. So it would just pop up another viz, if you will, that has the web page embedded. I don't like to do that because I don't have a really good use case for doing that, but there are good use cases for bringing up web pages that might be more intuitive. So what I did was I copied in the URL for a Wikipedia page. And normally, if you go to a Wikipedia page, it's going to be https with the slashes en.wikipedia.org/wiki. And then it's usually /Wisconsin spelled out, or Alabama spelled out, or Texas, or whatever it may be. And I wanted this to be interactive. So whichever state you clicked on, it would take you to that state's page. So the end of my URL, I click on insert, and it brings up the fields that are in my viz. And I just click on state, and it gave me that twice. So I certainly don't want that. So as long as the state is spelled the same on the Wikipedia page, which I found out that the state of Washington is not. If you just click on Washington, it brings up like all of the cities named Washington, and it's weird. But most of the state wiki pages are this web URL with the state name spelled out. So what you would have to do to account for Washington, if I would have had more time, because I just noticed that before this meeting started. If I were to, I could go to find the Washington State Wikipedia page and then alias my Washington State name in my Tableau viz, and then that would make it come up properly. So I can help with that if there's ever any questions about that. So I just have this, so the Wikipedia page for the state, I click OK, and I come out of here. So when I click on Wisconsin, it's going to open a web browser, which it opened on my other monitor. So I'll just squeeze it over here. So when I clicked on Wisconsin, it brought up the Wikipedia page for the state of Wisconsin. So that's pretty cool. I like that. I like that functionality. So that is what I had planned to demonstrate for this particular dashboard. So I will switch to a different one so that I can show you the functionality for using sheets as filters. So this is another Workout Wednesday exercise that was from last year. It was the challenge was, how well do you know Tableau's order of operations? So this was all about learning about filtering operations in Tableau, but it was a really good example of using a sheet as a filter. So I have a map, I have a bar chart, I have a text table, and then I have a legend. And if you'll notice, when I click on each of these individual vises, this highlight, this funnel, is not filled in. But if I did fill it in, I could use it as a filter. So I don't want to use any of these sheets as a filter, but I wanted to show you where that is. So it's on all of these in this little sidebar. But on my legend, I do have the filter filled in. So I am using this particular sheet as a filter. So there is a dashboard action behind the scenes where if the region filter is being used, we are using the legend as the source sheet, and then all of the other bars or all of the other charts, all of the other vises in the dashboard, the bars, the map, and the table are all part of that, that filter action. And of course, we want you to click before anything gets changed. So we're going to choose select for that. And then when we clear the selection, we want to go back to showing all values. So if I use my filter actions, if I click on central, click on the central in the legend box, and it's going to change all of the charts to only show the states that Tableau considers the central region. If I click on south, it changes them all to south. If I click on east, changes them all to east. And if I click on west, it changes them all to west. So if you have sales territories, or if you do geographic things like the Superstore data does, where everything is organized by states, it's pretty cool functionality. And then if you want everything back, you just hold down the control key and click on all of your entries in your region again, and it brings everything back to normal. So that is what I planned to show. I'm happy to answer any questions. Otherwise, Katie has some really cool stuff to show as well.
Yeah, Tammy, there are a couple of questions in the Q&A.
Okay.
They were actually brought up when you had the previous viz up. So I don't know if they're specific to that viz, or maybe you can answer it with either one. But one comment or question is, I get confused between the actions for workbook versus the sheet option. And I maybe think they meant dashboard option, but I don't know if you have any thoughts on that.
Yeah, I'm not sure that I understand the question.
Well, let's go to the next one, because it's
Okay.
maybe similar, and maybe we'll get an answer. So to clarify, you have to add each action to each sheet and select apply to all, or would you need to only add one action to allow you to highlight any sheet?
So are they talking about in the target sheets to which sheets will react when you have
Yeah,
I
think do you have to add an action to each sheet in order to have it work on each sheet, or do you have to select apply to all?
So I guess is the question, could I have this map when I hover on the map, on something on the map, have it react to both the scatter and the trend at the same time? Is that the question?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe if the person that sent in this question, if you want to like add more to it, maybe we can get you a better answer.
Yep, and maybe I can answer it offline from my part of the show. I apologize. I totally don't understand the question, and I want to understand the question.
So maybe you can go into the Q&A and answer directly.
Yep, I will. I will do that.
There's one more that just came in. Does the control key multi-select work on web published dashboards?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I don't use, so we use Tableau server. So all of these dashboard actions work the way that they should when the users in our company are using dashboards as part of server, because they're using a web browser to get to it. I haven't used Tableau, like I haven't used Tableau online or anything like that. So I can't say for sure, but I would assume that they do.
Yeah, I can chime in there. They do. Dashboard actions work the same in Tableau Cloud, which is like the renamed version of Tableau Online, and Tableau. Okay. So yeah.
All right, perfect. I assume so, but since I had never used them, I didn't want to.
Yeah, you don't want to. I totally get that. Yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
Have you used go to URL to initiate an email?
I never have done that, actually. And to be honest, I didn't even know that that was an option. If that is an option, I didn't know that it is. I've only used the go to URL to take someone to a web page for more information about something.
Yeah, I can actually chime in on that one. Yes, you can. You have to use so if you're familiar with HTML or any other place where you can kind of leverage like a URL to send an email, which is instead of like HTTP:// it's like mail to :
Oh, sure.
And then you can set the email address, whoever you're sending it to. You can also add like a subject line and all of that right in there. No spaces though, Tammy. So anyway, but yeah, you can, and you can make it dynamic based on the data point that you're hovering over, for example.
That's very cool. I learned something today. Train the trainer. I like that. That's a wonderful thing.
All right.
Cool.
I think, well, there was a further clarification on the first question around selecting dashboard actions. So the first screen has a this workbook option and this sheet option.
Okay, let me go there. Okay. So what did the clarification say?
So the initial one was, I get confused between actions for workbook versus this sheet option. And the additional comment was, when you select dashboard actions, the first screen has a this workbook and this sheet option.
Oh, I see. Okay. On the very first screen. Okay. Brandy, I have never done dashboard actions just on a sheet. I've only done them where an entire workbook is involved.
Mm.
Do you know what the difference is between these two? I wasn't sure where the question was coming from, but now I see it.
Right. Actually, I have an older version of Tableau, so I don't even have that layout in my dashboard action menu. You know what I think it is? Okay. I have an older version of Tableau desktop, but I think the distinction here is just which actions do you want to see listed here? So if you select this workbook, it's going to show you all dashboard actions across the entire workbook, not just on this dashboard. So like, let's say you have multiple dashboards and multiple dashboard actions. You know, you may want to see them across the entire workbook or just for this dashboard. That's it's just like it's just.
And now
it's
that you said, now
know.
that you said that, Brandy, that is exactly right. So it's not any functionality other than if I had 2 dashboards in this workbook and I had multiple sheets on all of the different dashboards, do I want to see the actions that only apply to this dashboard, or do I want to see the actions that apply to all of the dashboards that are in this workbook? So yes, so that answers that question, I think. And I apologize for not understanding what the question was, but we're there now.
Yeah. It's hard to type a clear, clearly worded question and then try to interpret it. So that said, we should probably move on. So thank you so much, Tammy. This was absolutely wonderful. Really appreciate sharing your knowledge with us. With that, the next speaker we have for you today is also going to be talking about dashboard actions. But talking about just some other use cases and kind of, Tammy kind of gave us a great overview of some of the initial settings that you have to consider when creating your dashboard actions, and even showing us some kind of complex use cases. Katie is going to kind of, pick the ball up and keep running with it. And talk a little bit more about additional, both intermediate and advanced use cases. But Katie comes to us with a degree in math. So, nerd alert. But she learned Tableau at a healthcare company and has since branched out and is doing consulting work with Rising Tides Analytics. And yeah, we're so grateful to have Katie come back and share her knowledge with us. So I'm going to turn it over to Katie.
Hey everybody, thanks Brandy. Yeah, so thanks Tammy, appreciate your overview. That was really good. I really think it was a good beginner interview or introduction into dashboard actions. I'm going to take the ball and keep running with it. I actually have really kind of some very similar examples to show. All of my stuff comes also from the Superstore data set. So let me share my screen. All right. All good. Okay. So this is a dashboard that I created that is kind of a really great overview of just like sales by region. And so the reason I wanted to show this dashboard specifically is because I actually use almost every single type of dashboard action on this. I personally love dashboard actions. I almost never create a dashboard that doesn't have an action on it because it really, in my opinion, like dashboard actions are the thing that drives interactivity on a dashboard. So anytime you want to hover, click, and make any of your mouse do anything on a dashboard, you need an action to kind of drive that. So that's kind of how I always think about it. If I'm trying to do something with my mouse, I need an action to make it work. So I already have a couple of things built into this dashboard that I didn't want to rebuild for you guys. It's very similar with the East in the region and everything up here. And then I have kind of a top 10 states listed over here. So pretty similar to that second dashboard that Tammy showed actually. And then this map that's got size by sales and then colored by region, and then this kind of trending line chart down at the bottom. So I have actions built in here already. And the biggest one that I have, and so kind of coming into this dashboard, I wanted to make it something that like a regional manager would like look at this dashboard and say, okay, I want to learn more about sales in my region. So kind of from high level down, we want to be able to drill in like hierarchically, if that's a word, into more information on your region. So let's say you're coming to this as like the person who's in charge of the West. Okay, and then so we're going to click on West, and then you can see now I've got the top 10 states over here. And then when you hover, it kind of highlights the states on the map. And then when you click, it'll drill into the state a little bit farther. And then also we'll filter your sales trend down here to show you by the state. But let's say you actually want to get a little bit more detailed, and we want to actually see how Seattle's sales are doing, drilled in a little bit further. So there's another level of actions that you can do that are already kind of built into what Tammy was showing. And so I'm going to just go in here again and add another action, which, to answer that other question, that is exactly what these little things do. It just filters between your actions that are on the whole workbooks. This is all of the actions I have currently on the workbook. I make a lot. And then this one will just show you what's on the current dashboard that you're looking at right now. And so I usually will filter to this sheet just so that I don't have to like dig through all of my workbook actions to edit the ones that are just on this initial dashboard. So going back to the city example, I'm going to add an action here that's a filter action. And I am going to name it city filter action, because just like Tammy, I am very specific on naming conventions and colors to dictate just organization within these within my workbooks. So then our source sheet here is going to be the map. So if you click and then do like a control all, it will highlight all of them, and you can deselect or select all of them as you go, which is just a lot easier than going through and clicking down the list of all of your sheets. And then so our source sheet here, which is the thing that you're clicking on, so that'll be my map. And then I want it on a select, and then my target sheet is the thing that I want it to affect. So I'm going to again do all and click off of those, because the only thing I want it to actually impact is the sales trend. And then when we clear it, I want it to show all values. So instead of leaving this at all fields, which I know is usually like most of the time that's your use case is going to be to just do an all fields filter action, I'm going to do a selected fields for this. And what's really funny is like when you deal with cities, there are multiple cities across states that have the same name. So if I go in here and I just click city and have the target field be city, and I hit OK, you'll see what happens. So if I click on, let's see, what's one that was Columbus, Georgia, there's actually multiple Columbuses around the US. And so you can see it doesn't actually filter it to, I have 3 lines down here still, which isn't what I wanted. Like I just wanted the South line to show up. So if I go back into that action, I have to add another level of fields in order to make sure that it's the right granularity of data that I'm looking for. So if I go into this click to add, I'm going to add in state. So I want city as well as state to be filtered on this action. And so then when I do that and I go back to Columbus, Georgia, you can see we just have the South. So I think Columbus, there's also an Indiana, which I actually wasn't aware of until today when I was looking at this. And then the Columbus, Ohio, which we're more familiar with. But so that's kind of a really fun use case for just using like more selected, like specific fields that you want to filter on. And then the next thing that I was going to talk about in this dashboard is how to like navigate to another dashboard. So let's say your regional manager that we're talking about here comes into this dashboard, he does all of his filtering and he's like, cool, great. I kind of understand, you know, Michigan sales now. I kind of want to go in and look at my region, but I want to look at some more details. So I have another dashboard over here that I created that I have a subcategory breakdown for, which, you know, box and whisker plots are kind of, sometimes they're usable in business settings and sometimes they're not. You usually have to teach people how to read them. So I actually included this little informational pop-up on how to read a box and whisker plot, which again, this is kind of my math degree is showing. But so for this dashboard, I have it, it's very similar where you filter for by clicking and highlighting, by clicking and hovering, you can highlight different categories and products and stuff through this dashboard. So what I want to be able to do is I want to come from my regional sales dashboard, and I want to click on my region, and then I want to be able to then navigate to the subcategory breakdown after that. So that's my goal. One of the ways that you can actually do that is just by editing the action that already exists. So if I look at this region action over here, this region filter action, that is what drives that clickable one. And if I just change my target sheets over to this subcategory breakdown dashboard instead, we can see that it will actually just take me there on a click. So if I click on this, it's now my target sheet was this dashboard. So now that filter applies to all of these sheets. And you can see, even with my little handy map up here, that it's just filtered for the East region. However, that wasn't exactly what we wanted to do. We wanted to be able to give it a good view on this, because now you can see it's not actually filtering this dashboard anymore. So I'm going to hit undo a couple times. Okay, still not enough. There we go. Okay. Okay, so this is working the way that we want it to again. So I just hit Control-Z a couple times. And so what I want to do is, instead of having that push you towards the other dashboard, I just want to have that filter apply to the sheets on that dashboard. So the way that you do that is what Tableau does on the back end. When you create and use a filter action, Tableau actually creates a little pill, like a normal filter pill that we interact with all the time, on the target sheets. So if I go into this map on the sheet, you can see there's two actions that were created on the sheet. And one of them is the state action, which is the one that's driven by that top 10 bar chart that I have. And then the other one is this region action. So the cool thing is I can just treat this like any other filter that we use. So like this year filter or these other region filters, I can just click on it and apply it to worksheets and select my worksheets that I want it to actually affect. So that even though that region breakdown is on the first dashboard, I can have that action affect across different dashboards. So another piece of my organizational mind in here is that I color all of my dashboards and all of my sheets the same color for each dashboard. So I just want the purple ones. So I'm going to click on all my purple ones and I'm going to apply it to my purple sheets. And then I'm going to hit OK. And then when I go back over here, you can see when I filtered to East again, and then I navigate to the subcategory breakdown, it did that filter that I wanted it to do. So then we can check on the central as well, and it re-filters everything for the central region. However, it's still not navigating me there the way that I wanted it to. I have to click on the tabs. And so one of the ways to do that doesn't actually involve any actions is one of these object pieces over here. There's actually a navigation object that you can do, which is just, it basically creates a button for you. And this, all you have to do is edit the button. I want it to navigate to subcategory breakdown, and we're just going to say subcategory, and we're just going to let it format however it wants. That's fine. Not super pretty, but that's okay. So then if I go back into presentation mode, you can see I will filter central. And then when we click on subcategory, it takes me over there. However, if you don't want it to be taking up any sort of like real estate on your dashboard, the other way that you can do it is you can actually create a dashboard action that's a navigation. And so there's one more type of dashboard action in here that allows you to go to sheet, is what it's called. And then this one will, when you click on it, when you do the run action on, it will take you to that sheet. So because, and then the other thing about this is that I already have actions on that sheet that correspond to the click, to the select. So I don't want to add yet another thing to the select, because I don't want Tableau to do two things at the same time. So I am going to actually do it on the menu option, which will pop up like a tooltip. And then there'll be a little like hyperlink at the bottom of your tooltip that will allow you to click on a link and it will take you to the dashboard. So the cool thing about menu options is that whatever you put in this name will actually show up in the tooltip. So I'm going to say view subcategory breakdown for this region. Okay, and then we're gonna again edit our source sheets to be that stacked bar on menu, and then my target sheet again is that subcategory breakdown. So if I hit OK and hit OK again, and we present this and we click on West, now that pop-up happens here, and I can see, oh, now I can just really quickly head over to my subcategory breakdown. And it's filtered for the West like we wanted. So that's a couple of different ways that you're actually able to do navigation within dashboard actions. They tend to be really helpful. And if you know, like, let's say I had a table down at the bottom that has maybe more details on like customers, and then you have maybe a customer-centric dashboard that when you click on the customer, you want to filter that other dashboard for just that customer's information. That's another use case that you could do. There's just so many. There's so many use cases for this. So that's kind of the navigation side. I do have a little bit more information on the URLs, but I kind of wanted to pause and see if there's either questions or how much time I have to keep going.
So there is a
dashboard actions for a long time.
There is a question in the Q&A. For the information button on the subcategory dashboard,
yes,
are you using that as a vision tooltip or dynamic zone visibility parameter action?
So that's actually neither. This is very simply, this is just a hide and show button for a container. So I have this little thing inside of a container, and this is the hide show button that if you create a container and do the drop down, you can do so if I get rid of that and I show you again this way, you can do add show hide button, and then it just creates a button. So I had created a little info button that I imported into this, but you can then edit the button and have the button be an image or a text, and then you can change the appearance based on whether it's shown or hidden. So then when you're in presentation mode and you click on it, it disappears. And then, so it's a really easy way to like hide extra filters, which is actually what I have right here. I have kind of my extra filters over here, and the button kind of allows you to not have everything just shown all the time on dashboards. So it's a little trick that I use quite often to help with design. So.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And you've got time.
I do. Okay, great.
So if you need to go, go.
Okay, I will keep going then. So then the other example that I wanted to do, actually, Tammy stole it a little bit. I was going to do a Wikipedia with the states, but I can go a little bit more detailed into that. And there's a couple other ways to use the URL actions that I can go into. And one of them is a very simple use case for it, where you can create a calculated field that actually has a link in it that's just a static link. If you don't want to dynamically change it like Tammy was doing based on a state or based on a field, and you just have a link that you want somebody to be able to click on something, like click on a website, or say like, I want you to go to my HR homepage or whatever, you can just like hard code a link into a calculated field. And then, so this is obviously my LinkedIn page. And then if you bring it onto the details shelf, and then just create, so I have this as a shape right now, and I should have it as a square. And I have it with no opacity and it's white, so that I can just hover it over this little LinkedIn logo that I have in my Figma background that I created. And then what I can do is I can create a dashboard action that is a go-to URL. And this is going to be Katie LinkedIn. And then again, source sheet will be that Katie LinkedIn sheet, and on select. So we're in a new browser tab, and then we can actually insert from the field. And so I'll just insert that calculated field that I created. and it will show up here, and then I'll hit OK and hit OK. And then when I click on this, it will, on my other screen, of course, it will pop up my LinkedIn page. So I use that a lot on kind of my Tableau public vizzes that I create. I will give a link to my LinkedIn page. So that's kind of the more basic form of the URL action. The other action that I had done was actually the same action as Tammy, but I had done it as a as a menu option, actually, because one of the things that you can do when you name menu actions as a URL is you can insert a field into the name, so that I can say learn more about, and then insert the state in here, which this is, I don't know why it keeps listing out the data source in there. And then when you, so I'm going to have this for the map. My source sheets are going to be both the map and my top 10 states, and we're going to be on the menu. And then again, no new browser tab. And then we're going to take that Wikipedia link that she had mentioned earlier and stick it in there. And then we're going to take, I can spell state correctly, state, and put it there. So then, okay. And then again, so we have Texas, I clicked on it, and now here's that learn more about Texas here in the menu option. So that now gives you a little bit more, which again, it's popping up on my other screen, but here's more about Texas. The reason, so I actually use this quite often with some of my clients that I work with. The biggest use case that in a business setting that this works well with is in something like Salesforce. If you have a dashboard on Salesforce opportunities that you want people to be updating. So let's say you have every week you have a dashboard that shows opportunities that haven't been touched in 30 days for a sales team. But you know, salespeople perpetually are not fans of updating Salesforce. And so to make it easier for them, one of the things you can do is create a dynamic link that actually allows you to click on an opportunity and take them right to the browser so that they can update their opportunity. I made a fake URL for Salesforce, since I can't show the ones that I usually work with. And if I'll just show you this in a calculated field. So this is kind of an example of what Salesforce links usually look like. It's dynamic to your, or it's specific to your Salesforce instance, but there's usually a company name, and then opportunity is listed here. And then if you notice right here, this section, I made this up, but there's always a 15-character ID that's inherent to each opportunity. This is also true for accounts as well as contacts. And what you can do is if you build a viz that holds the opportunity ID on the sheet, then you can actually input that into the link and take them directly to the opportunity in a browser. So I'm going to kind of do a little bit of an example with that. And so this is a product list, again, based on Superstore. So this isn't going to work, but I'll show you, like the web page doesn't exist, but I'll show you that it dynamically changes the URL. So if I create an action here, and obviously this sheet has no actions on it yet. So I do a go to URL, and again, this one doesn't matter because it's going to be on select. So this is going to be product link. And then we're going to do on select, new browser tab, and then I'm going to paste in that ID that or that link that I just created for you. And then I'm going to insert that product, which again, it's doing that product ID field, which is the one over here on the left. So, and then if I hit OK and hit OK again, let's say I'm going through this, I'm looking at different product IDs in here, and I want to see, well, why does this product sell really well in Central, East, and West, but we don't have any sales in the South? That's kind of weird. So let me click on this product, and then it's going to pop up information about that product over here, which obviously this is a fake URL, but if you look at the actual URL at the top, you can see that product ID that we clicked on is dynamically input into the URL, which is super helpful. And then will work with something like Salesforce or HubSpot, or like one of the other examples that Tableau had was like a product list on Staples. If they have like a URL and then like the end of it has just the product ID or product name. So that's a really good business use case for that. The last thing I wanted to show with this is actually that use case of the web page example as a web page object, which we kind of talked about, how there's not a ton of use for it. But I've used this for a client before as well, because we work with somebody who has a huge list of companies that they work with. And one of the items in their database is actually their website, so the company's website. And so I've created visualizations for them before that allow you to just click on a different company, and then their company's website will actually just pop up within the dashboard. So in order for that to happen, there's a really easy way to make that happen, and it's this web page object over here. And this, I just created a really simple bar chart, sales by state again. And if we pull in this web page object on the right, it wants a URL immediately, which at first doesn't really matter. So again, we're going to give it the Wikipedia webpage and hit OK. So when I do that, it pops up the Wikipedia page on the right. And then in order for this to be dynamic by state, you can hit the drop down over here and hit add URL action. And then for some reason, even though Tableau revamped their action UI, they didn't do it for this one. So this is kind of the old school look of how the actions used to look, which is kind of funny. And then again, this isn't going to matter because we're going to do it on select again. So this is going to be state link. And then it's going to be your source sheet is state list. And we want to select, and then that URL is going to be the Wikipedia page. And we're going to add in that state at the end. And then that target is that web page object. So we're going to hit OK and hit OK again. And then then when we click on this bar chart over here, it will automatically update the web page object right within the dashboard. Which again, there's not a ton of use cases for this one, but it is a really handy thing to have in your back pocket if there's ever like a list of websites that you need to display or something like that. This is a super helpful thing. And then the other cool thing about the web page object is it's not just like a picture of the web page, it's actually a web page, so you can still interact with any links inside of this. So, you know, like let's click on Wisconsin and we can see Wisconsin's Wikipedia page. And then, you know, we can, what is Lake Michigan? Like, let's look more at Lake Michigan. We can see, here's the webpage, you know, so you can keep kind of going down that rabbit trail of Wikipedia, but you can use that as an actual, basically a browser page inside your dashboard. Yeah, so that's everything that I had. I don't know if there's any more questions that had come up or anything, but yeah, that's about all the stuff that I've got.
Thanks, Katie. That was excellent. And so much information. I feel like I mean, I agree. Dashboard actions are like super powerful. And yeah, I could talk about them for a really long time. I don't see any questions at the moment, but
okay.
If anybody does have any questions, now's your chance. We only have a few minutes left of our meeting, so we are going to go right into the wrap up. And kind of that giveaway and events and things. So we have a little bit more to discuss, but if you do have any questions for Katie, post them in the Q&A panel. And Katie maybe can type answers to you while we kind of give you some wrap up. So don't go away just yet. If you want to win, you need to stick around. We're gonna, unfortunately, sorry, Olga, we're gonna skip quick tips because we only have 8 minutes left. And those would have been really, really quick tips then. So what we're going to do instead is briefly talk about some upcoming events, because there's lots of events coming up. So I'm going to turn it over to Mark to talk a little bit about what is coming up.
Thank you, Brandy. So many events, data and analytics related, both online and in person in the area. First one is the Data Career Summit that Brandy and Dustin are heavily involved with. So I'm just going to hand it over to Brandy to take a moment to describe what that's all about.
Yeah, I'll keep this one quick, but essentially Dustin Shimmick and I, so Dustin and I met through the Tableau user group community here in Milwaukee. We both, I think, field a lot of questions, people who are interested in getting more involved in data and like, where's the best place to start? And just lots of kind of questions around how do I get my foot in the door? And so we spun up something called the Data Careers Summit, and this is now our second event. And it's pretty much like an online conference. It's free to attend. You can register at the link that Patrick just posted in the chat. And we're covering all sorts of things from what's the distinction or what's the day-to-day life of a data scientist or a data engineer or a data analyst. We also have companies coming to talk about their data culture and their data vision and open jobs that they have. And Andy Cotgreave, who is the technical evangelist at Tableau, is giving a keynote. So we have lots of awesome content. We have lots of great giveaways, and it's all happening tomorrow. So join us if you'd like.
All right, thank you for that, Brandy. Another one that's coming up very soon, Analytics After Dark. Katie, I know you're part of the Rising Tides organization. There's a happy hour that's being sponsored on March 8th. I believe it is at the North Shore, or I'm sorry, North South Club from 5 to 7 p.m. So please check that out. There'll be links that'll be provided after the fact to that. I like attending that because it's an in-person event. It's a good way to network and meet lots of different people. I know it's a Tableau user group, but some folks don't always use Tableau, or you might work for a big organization where they have Power BI, Snowflake, whatever. Good organization to just network with people who work with data. Also Milwaukee Ultra user group coming up on the 16th. We have another tug. Our friends at the Madison Tug have an in-person event on March 22nd. Then there's the online virtual Wisconsin Tug on April 19th. Tableau conference is coming up May 9th to 11th. I know a lot of people didn't say they were going. I know they shifted the time way up this year to align with the Salesforce conference. I don't know if that has something to do with it, but that's coming up. And then as we had mentioned, or Brandy had mentioned earlier, the next Milwaukee Tug is going to be for May 18th. We are planning on having that be in person. Details to be provided later on where, but we're planning on that to be in person. And then another organization, Women in Technology. I know several folks on this call participate in that. They have multiple events, so please go to their website to see all the different events that they have coming up.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Mark. Yeah, I know that's a lot, lots of good things, analytical things happening here in Milwaukee, some of which you can access online, or obviously the conference in Vegas. So I'm sure if you're going to the conference, I believe this Wisconsin Tug meeting in April will kind of be like a, what do you need to know before you go? And especially if it's your first time, there's a lot of stuff out there. And that's a really good meeting to attend, to just get your bearings before you go to Vegas. So cool. The last kind of element of our meeting today is our giveaways. So again, people who asked questions of our speakers today have all been entered to win a prize. And I'm going to turn it over to Patrick for that.
Yeah. And real quick, there was a question early on about the conference that I answered directly in the Q&A, just about justifying, going to the conference. So, we don't have enough time to really go into that, unfortunately, today, but feel free to reach out to any of us. I've been to the conference a few times. Brandy's been there a few times, so happy to share any more information directly with you on what it's like to go, or what we personally have gotten out of the conference. With that said, I'll get right into our giveaways. And we had A number of people did enter in the Q&A. We had 6, I believe. So I've got them into a random name drawer here. So our first winner is Brady Sullivan. So Brady, if you could just like drop your email into the chat, send us your email, we can get the gift card. I guess we got gift cards to the Tableau swag store or Tableau store. So
Yeah,
our
real quick,
oh,
I was just
go
going
ahead,
to mention
Brady.
something. You can in the chat. Okay, perfect. Brady sent it just to hosts and panelists. Yeah, you don't.
All right.
I mean, if you want to send everyone your email address, go for it. But I also just send it to us.
All right. Okay, and then our second winner is Patrick Schomer or Schomer.
Do we have to be present to win? I don't see Patrick on the call anymore or on the meeting.
He must have dropped. No, no. Normally, you don't have to be present to win. We just need his email address. But Patrick has attended a few meetings before, so I'm sure we'll find him.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you, Patrick. I appreciate it. With only a minute left, I do want to remind you all that if you didn't win one of our awesome prizes, you can still get a prize by sharing stuff that you do in Tableau. And as kind of Tammy showed, it can be Workout Wednesday content, or you can use Sales Superstore and put something together for us. And all we really want to understand is how you approach something in Tableau. How do you build something in Tableau? I think we all do things differently. And when you share your approach with other people, we all learn something. So if you're interested, reach out. We'd love to help, find a topic that maybe you're interested in talking about. It could be 10 minutes. It doesn't have to be anything long. Just pop on with some of your favorite tips. So, and you'll get a prize for doing so. So if you want to do that, email us at mketug, so Milwaukee Tableau User Group, mketug@gmail.com. And we'd love to have you speak at one of the future events. So thank you all so much for attending. We hope that you enjoyed it. And Tammy and Katie, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with us. We really appreciate it. Have a great day,
Thank you.
everyone. Bye.
Bye, everyone.